You know, after almost 3 decades of taking depositions, and particularly expert depositions, here are the top 3 things that most lawyers mistakenly do in a deposition that really hurts their case. My name is Mike Alder. I am the lead trial lawyer and owner of AlderLaw, and I've recovered in verdicts and settlements over $3.5 billion for my clients. I've taken thousands of depositions and have a depo library of 5,000 depositions that is accessible to anybody by just going to my link tree or in my bio and asking for it. The first thing I want to talk about is called Gilding the Lily. And what that means is you have a beautiful flower of a lily and you try to make it more beautiful by gilding it with gold, and it kills the flower. That's the term gilding the lily. And what lawyers do is they many times get great answers from an expert. I do not have an opinion on that at trial. And then later on, they try to double down on that by gilding a great answer. I just want to reiterate, you don't have an opinion on that. And then they open up something like the expert going, well, now that I think about it. So by trying to gild the lily, by trying to make great answers better, you many times are, one, telling the other side that that's a good thing for you. And then when you give them an opportunity to reiterate the good thing for you, they change their answer. So stop gilding the lily. Second, getting an answer to a question is really important. When people don't want to tell you something, they say things like, I don't know, I haven't looked at that, I don't remember. And in an expert deposition, you are taking a deposition where there is a requirement that they give you an answer definitively because it binds them for trial. When you ask a question and an expert tries to sideswipe the answer, you need to double down and say, I just need an answer, yes or no. Do you have an opinion to the legal standard, a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that the plaintiff is exaggerating their symptoms? Well, I think maybe they are. Sir, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, are you going to tell the jury that the plaintiff is exaggerating their symptoms? No. Then it's done. But the human nature is, if I don't want to tell you something that I think is going to hurt my side, I hedge. I haven't looked at that. Your ability to follow up and get a definitive answer that shuts it down or gets the answer is critical. And I see most lawyers not follow up when doctors and experts give them a half answer. The final technique is understanding that when you get an answer, that you have to think about reading that or playing that at trial. So the question and the answer has to be clear. So for example, if I asked a question, is the foot surgery required because of the injuries from the collision? The expert's answer might be yes, but his answer is really like, well, if I consider that, he didn't complain at the beginning, but maybe he did at the end, and all things considered, there's a possibility, and then he lists all of the bad things about the case, and, this wasn't a very serious collision, but maybe it... You need to understand that if you try to read that question and answer at trial, it's gobbledygook. So you want to follow up after the expert tries to help the other side, and then get a definitive question and answer. So, doctor, I just want to make sure the answer is yes, the surgery was required as a result of the injuries from the collision. Correct? Correct. And then that's what you're playing at the trial. That's what you're reading. Every time, I would say, in an experienced defense expert's depo, they add all sorts of stuff to their answer. And then you have to follow up again. Take out all of the extraneous things that they're saying, repeat back the definitive answer, and then ask them if they agree or disagree with that statement, and then that's what you're playing. So understand that these 3 mistakes, one, give the other side an opportunity to fix their mistakes that you've now identified as really helpful to you. 2, to push the expert to give you a definitive answer. And 3, to push that expert to giving you an answer that is usable in trial. If you can avoid these 3 general mistakes, your ability to take effective depositions of experts goes up exponentially. If you need any more information, if you need sample depositions, reach out. My info's in the bio or the video description.